This German M263 Command Bunker is the only one of its kind in the whole world. It is placed on the Atlantic Wall and was used as a fire control bunker for huge 24-centimeter railway guns. The command bunker is massive. The roof is probably around 2 meters thick, and it was used around 825 cubic meters of concrete. The bunker is in surprisingly good condition, especially inside. Around 300 German soldiers served here from 1942 to 1945. We can still see traces of mess halls and barracks, and the manned shelters are in quite good conditions. The German troops operated 4 huge, French-made railway guns, which were made in the late 1800s and taken over by the Germans during the Battle of France in 1940. The railway guns were unfortunately removed after the war, and only traces of the railway are left. Each railway gun weighed around 140 metric tons, and the 24-centimeter shell had a weight of 162 kilos. Back to the one-of-its-kind M263 bunker. The M tells us that this bunker design was made for marine forts. The name of this bunker design, translated to English, is Fire Control Post for Light and Medium Batteries. That this was a standard design bunker indicates that the Germans planned to make more of them, but then didn't have time before the war ended. One thing I want to ask you about is this thing. Does anyone know what it has been used for? Please let me know in the comments. The rangefinder for the 4 railway guns were placed under this characteristic concrete roof. This aiming device made it possible for all 4 railway guns to aim precisely at the target. The distance to the ocean is around 3 kilometers, quite far away in my opinion. The reason is probably accessibility to the railway. The position probably also made the fort less visible for the enemy, compared to having it right on the coastline. The rangefinder was used in combination with a radar called FUMO 214, also known as the Würzburg-Riese radar. The radar was placed around 100 meters from the command bunker, but is unfortunately removed today. As a close defense around the fort, the German soldiers operated 7 2-centimeter flak anti-aircraft guns, flamethrowers, searchlights, and machine guns. Some of the remaining construction are said to look like the swastika symbol if seen from above. I'm not sure if it was built like that by the Germans, or if the concrete structures have shifted over the last 70 years. What do you think? Does it look like the Nazi symbol? Let's take a closer look at the command bunker. The small fence is just to prevent sheep from getting inside the bunker. Obviously installed way after the war. It's interesting that the solid metal doors can be split in 2 horizontally. This made it possible for the Germans to see out from the bunker and reduce the probability for enemy hand grenades to be thrown inside the bunker. We now enter the gas cell, as translated from this technical drawing of the bunker design. This room was designed for protection against gas attacks. The doors on all 3 sides of the cell had airtight seals to prevent gas from entering the bunker. Mustard gas and nerve gas are heavier than air, which might also explain the split doors. The lower part could be closed, keeping the gas outside, while still allowing visibility through the upper half. The next room is a chamber room, but it clearly also served as an entrance defense room. We can see that by looking at the casemate pointed out in the drawing. The casemate is also seen in the video clip. Imagine conscript soldiers standing here with their Mauser Karabiner 98K to protect the officers in the operation room against enemy soldiers. The biggest room, on German called Rechenraum, can be translated to calculation room. This is where the officers got data from the aiming device and calculated where to point the railway guns. The calculation room is in good condition. The wood panels are still on the wall and on the floor. I have always imagined that all bunkers consisted of only concrete and were quite cold. But this shows that especially command bunkers were a bit more comfortable. The next room is the ventilation room. I believe they also had a coal-fired oven here. In the calculation room, we can still see the ventilation ducts. As we can see from the drawing, it looks like there was a secondary entrance to this bunker. Most bunkers had one, as an emergency exit, for instance, in case enemies entered the bunker. The entrance is now covered with a bookshelf from the inside. The entrance is also covered in soil and grass from the outside. According to the drawing, there were 2 smaller rooms inside the calculation room. I believe these 2 rooms were made by lightweight walls and are removed today. The first room, listed as FERC, is according to ChatGPT just a small room probably just a utility room. The second room, I believe, is an abbreviation for Fernsprechraum, translated to communications room, which makes sense. Let me know if you believe I'm wrong when it comes to these two rooms. The doors and ceiling in this bunker were painted after 1945. This has helped prevent the metal from rusting. At first, I thought this made the bunker less authentic, but the Germans often painted bunkers during the war as well, for several purposes. It could protect the structure, improve ventilation and visibility, and make the area cleaner and more organized. There is a 1 meter deep and 15 centimeter wide gap in the ceiling. Does anyone know what it is for? Now, let's take a look at the inside of the dome. Looking at the drawing, Zielsäulen is translated to target pillars, and Richtmann's Fernrohr translates to Richtmann's sighting telescope. This telescope was used for aiming heavy artillery or guns, in this case, the railway guns. The field of view from this position is quite wide, 240 degrees according to the drawing. The railway guns had a full 360 degrees range of motion, but the likely targets were in the direction of the ocean, so I don't think it was a big problem that the sighting telescope only could cover 2/3 of it. I'm not sure what the difference is between the rangefinder under the concrete roof and the sighting telescope in the dome and how they work together. If you have any clue, feel free to write an explanation in the comments. I want to show you a small detail. The concrete is covered in what I believe to be tar. The entire structure was likely coated with it during the war. The tar prevented rain from penetrating the concrete and also served as insulation and camouflage. Another interesting thing is all the ventilation ducts coming out of the bunker. Having served over 10 years in the Army and Navy, I've experienced how important ventilation systems can be for extracting gas and smoke from vessels. The same principle applies to bunkers. If you liked this video, feel free to subscribe and stay tuned for the next video.